guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me. For today's video, I have my review on the Anastasia Soft Glam palette, and I did purchase this myself on the Anastasia website on Valentine's Day, February 14th, and I got it like the next week or week and a half or whatever, and this does retail for $42. Now, the original palette that I did get, I actually had two of the same shades in my palette, which has never happened to me, and I swear to God I thought I was going crazy. I was like, are these identical or am I going crazy? But yeah, it was indeed two identical shades, so they did go ahead and send me a replacement palette, and I sent the other one back because they wanted it for control purposes, and I was like, you know what, it's fine, whatever. But what was weird is my new palette and the old palette were the same batch code, so when I got my new palette I was like, wait, is this like gonna be like the same shades that are gonna be like the same, you know, am I gonna have two the same shades in this palette too? But I didn't. Shades and everything are fine. But I am wearing this palette on my eyes today, so yeah, I've been using this palette since Valentine's Day, and I absolutely love it. Now, this is very comparable to the Modern Renaissance formula, or that's what Nervina and what Claudia was saying, as well as Anastasia herself was saying. So, I wanted to believe that, and you guys, I have to say that this is the same formula as the Modern Renaissance palette, and I am so excited because I love the Modern Renaissance formula. I love Anastasia in general. Like, all of her products they've come out with, I love. There has not been one product that I have not liked from Anastasia, and that says a lot from, you know, coming as a consumer, because, you know, I don't know, they just can do me no wrong. I feel like every product that they come out with, I love. So, without further ado, I'm just going to get started with this review because I, you know, just don't want this to be super long, but we all know I like to talk. So, this is what the outer packaging looks like. It's very typical for Anastasia. It has this like velvet kind of packaging, very similar to the Modern Renaissance palette, as well as, you know, the Subculture in the Prism palette. So yeah, I love the kind of camel color packaging, and this is what it looks like. And then on the inside, you do get the little plastic thing, which I'm just going to take out right now because it's going to go flying every time I open this. And then there is a brush that it comes with, and this is what the brush looks like. Now, I have not used this brush yet, but I have used Anastasia's, the brushes in the past that come with the palettes, and I don't hate them, but I don't love them either. They're not my favorite brushes, and here's why. Like, I think the shader brush is fine and everything, but this blending side always seems to shed a little bit on me, and I don't know like what it is about the brush that sheds, but you know, they're not my favorites. But if I'm, you know, traveling or I just need a brush to use, it is fine. I don't really notice it shedding too much on my eye, but I do notice, you know, like after I use it or something, some of the hairs will fall out. So if that bothers you, you might not like the brush, but like I said, I don't really, you know, mind it too much. The palette looks like on the inside. So if you're somebody who likes cool toned eyeshadows and you don't like warm toned eyeshadows, this is not going to be the palette for you, obviously, because there's a ton of warm toned eyeshadows in here, which I really, really like warm toned eyeshadows, so this is right up my alley. I did want to point out that there are 3 of the same shades in this palette as there are to the Modern Renaissance palette, and I love the Modern Renaissance palette. I use and abuse my palette like all the time, so, you know, I'm actually really happy that they did put in 3 of the same shades in this palette as to the Modern Renaissance palette, because I, you know, use my Modern Renaissance palette all the time. And if you're curious to what shades are the same in this palette as the Modern Renaissance palette, that is Tempera, this kind of cream matte shade, or it has a little satin. I would say it's more of a satin shade. And then we have Burnt Orange, which is also in the Modern Renaissance palette. And then this shade down here called Cypress Umber. I think I'm saying that right, probably not, but you know. So you have 3 shades that are the same in that palette as the Modern Renaissance palette, which I love those shades, so I'm not complaining. So here are the shades, what they look like up close. So this first shade is Tempera, then we have Glistening, Orange Soda, Rosé Pink, or Rose Pink, Sultry, Bronze, and Mulberry is the first row. And I love these three like shimmer or metallic shades right here. They are stunning. The bottom row we have Dusty Rose, Fairy, Burnt Orange, Sienna, Rustic, Cypress Umber, and Noir, but it's that black shade. And this is what the entire top row looks like swatched out on my hand. And these are one swipe. Sorry these top two shades didn't show up the greatest. I tried to swatch them the best I could, but I'm terrible at swatching. And this is what the bottom row looks like swatched out. Again, all of these are one swipe. Okay, so now that you've seen the top row and the bottom row swatched out, I want to talk about my favorite shades in this palette and why I like this palette so much. So a few of my favorite shades in this palette would be these three metallics, which are Rose Pink or Rose Pink, Sultry, and Bronze. And then I absolutely love Mulberry and Orange Soda. Those are some of my favorite shades in this palette. And then as far as the bottom row is concerned, I really like Dusty Rose, and the browns and kind of burnt orange colors are really nice in this palette as well. Some of my favorite looks that I've done with this palette is using Rose Pink all over the lid, and then using the Dusty Rose and Orange Soda like in the crease, and then taking the shade Mulberry over here and kind of applying that in the outer V. And then I really like to take Dusty Rose on my bottom lash line and just kind of apply that to my bottom lash line and to kind of bring the look together. But yeah, I overall really enjoy this palette, and I would highly recommend it. If you're somebody who's never tried Anastasia shadows, the shadows themselves are pretty soft, I would say, but they blend very easily, and they kind of, you know, just all together, they just blend well together. I feel like there's no really harsh lines when using this palette. It's very reminiscent of the Modern Renaissance palette. So if you're curious about the formula of the Soft Glam palette, if it is actually the same formula as the Modern Renaissance palette, I would say it is. So these two shades over here, Glistening and Fairy, are more of a shimmer finish, where these three up here, Rose Pink, Sultry, and Bronze, are more of a metallic foiled finish. So I love that this palette has a variety of finishes, whether it be matte, foiled, satin, shimmer, you know. I feel like this palette has it all, and I would highly recommend this palette. I believe it is permanent to Anastasia's collection or line, so, you know, it should be around for a while. And yeah, I would highly recommend checking this palette out. And I think if you have the Subculture palette, it would also pair beautifully with that palette as well. What I love about Anastasia's palettes is that I feel like they all incorporate well with one another. So if you have one and if you have one and you have like another palette by them, it's gonna go well together. So yeah, that's my overall review. I would highly recommend this palette. Like I said, I am wearing it on my eyes today, so if you would like to see like a get ready with me or something, let me know down below. And then I also do have some photos on my Instagram where I'm wearing the palette as well. I will leave my Instagram handle down here, and I always link it at the end of this video as well as or listed down below, so be sure to check that out. But otherwise, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.